I'll do it right now. Ooh, whoop. Thank God I'm so fast. I got that Instagram set up like that. Let me just go live on there. There we go. Now we're live on Instagram. Welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a long time. We've forgotten what our faces look like. That's Tim over there. Oh, wait, the other way. That's Tim. And that's Michelle down there. And if you've forgotten what we look like, how long has it been? It's been
like 4 weeks. It's been 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, maybe three weeks.
Yeah.
Something to that effect. Maybe 4. We were supposed to come back on the we're supposed to come back on the 8th. Well, just so everybody knows, we look exactly the damn same as we did in 2024.
I look younger. No, I'm kidding. Michelle looks younger. We all look younger. One of these days,
pennies in the wishing well over Christmas.
Yeah. One of these days, we're just gonna get like some kids. We're gonna look for kids that look somewhat like us in our neighborhoods, and then just place them in our positions and have them start the show. Really mess with everyone's heads.
I'd have a better luck in finding some old chick where I live.
Yeah, we're back. It's 2025. I hope everyone out there had wonderful holidays. I don't know what to say. What is the proper thing to say? I'm going to say Merry Christmas. If you're offended by that, I'm sorry, but happy holidays. I hope you had a great New Year's. New Year's is the only one you can't mess up. You can just Happy New Year's, right? There's no alternative way of saying it. Correct, Michelle, Tim?
Right. Absolutely.
Happy New Year's.
No, I think you know what, all's fair in love and salutations. I think you say this, you greet people for the holidays, however you're comfortable with. But I do think that, full respect is owed to other people around you. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. It's a catch-all, right? You can say both and cover your bases, right?
That's it. I think just go with it. Just be happy. Just be happy that you made it to 2025. I remember as a young man in South Philadelphia in 1978 being told about the year 2000 and thinking, oh my God, I ain't going to make it that far. It seems so far away, and now it's 2025 and I'm like, yeah, I'm still going, baby. I got to find that nun. I don't know if she's still alive. Sister Pasqualina, are you still out there, Sister Pasqualina? John Truncali at Hotmail.
Might be. Might watch the show. You never know.
If she's alive, she'd be in her 100-something, something like that at least.
She was older then, huh?
Nothing's impossible. Yeah, nothing's impossible, John. Maybe she lives on a mountain in Tibet and eats yogurt, and she's 110.
Yeah,
and,
she could. It could be.
She's chanting on the top of the mountain. Who knows?
I'd be very scared of that woman if she was still alive. Put it that way. You know what I'm saying? Even though I'm a grown man now, I'd still be afraid of that nun. Oh man. It's a new year, new things, new possibilities. We're waiting on a decision from the Supreme Court. We're waiting for the inauguration of Mr. Trump, which is a few days away, right? I think it's a few days away.
The 20th, I believe.
The 20th, that is correct. 5 days away. We're waiting. It looks like a majority of his picks are going to go through. It doesn't look like he's going to have too much trouble there. So that's a good thing for us. So some changes in the FDA playing a little games right now. Mr. Biden too. We're going to talk a little bit about that. What else? We're gonna dig. Yes, 2025, Jeffrey. It's here, and we're still playing the waiting game. But I think we're going to benefit this year. I think things are going to work out.
It's our year, guys.
It is our year. I think it is. I think it is for sure. I think they're trying their hardest to make it difficult for us. It's a chess game, and hopefully we have the right people playing for us in those positions. I guess I don't know how else to say it. Yeah. So Tim,
Yes.
how's the last 4 weeks of your life been? No, I'm kidding. No,
Oh God,
it's been going the whole 4 weeks.
I mean, I won't belabor people with long-winded stories, but I mean, it feels like it's been a bit of a whirlwind, to be quite honest with you. I mean, from Thanksgiving, which we celebrated with a friend of mine over at his house. He was kind enough to have us over for Thanksgiving dinner, and we spent time with friends through the holidays. Christmas was kind of chaotic in and of it. So we had our own Christmas here, and then we spent Christmas with friends and kind of jumped around. We went to some shows. If anybody in 2025 is looking for a new band to check out, they're not a new band. They've been around for a while. They're young. Well, I say that I'm old, right? So they're young. Got to be in their at least their 20s, mid to late 20s. It's a band called 7 Year Witch. If you're into rock and roll, and I mean, they're not like Skid Row or Rat or like, don't get it twisted. It's not like my yesteryear. That they're just good, real good groove rock and roll. They're called 7 Year Witch. You can find them on YouTube. You can find them on Facebook. They're a very energetic band. Nice. I don't know that the videos, the actual studio style filmed videos really echo that, but I mean, if you want to see a band jump around stage and go nuts and crazy, great band, 7 Year Witch. Go check them out. Right. Saw them, went and saw them downtown in Atlanta. Found a new bar.
That's always good. That's
found
always
a new bar in Atlanta, but unfortunately, it only lasted about 3 weeks after we left the place. It was down in Little Five Points in Atlanta called Halford's, after Rob Halford, the singer of Judas Priest. It's the first metal bar that I think I've ever seen in any city in America that I've ever lived in. Wow. So it was cool. It had like rock memorabilia all over the walls. The bathrooms were plastered with like flyers and all kinds of stuff. It was a really cool ambient, however you say that, environment. And then they posted the other day that they had to shut their doors because the landlord that they rent from for the space sold the place, and so they got to get out. So needless to say, the metal bar came and went. So we'll see what happens. They said they're looking for a new location. And then to top it all off, after we got through all of the chaos of the holidays, which was very nice, everybody got what they wanted. Our friends even got a new puppy, very cute puppy.
Puppies.
We ended up taking a trip. We just got back from it's near Richmond, Virginia. If anybody's familiar with Richmond, Virginia, Guar, the band Guar. There's a place they're from there. It's the VCU college town. We went to go visit my parents, who can no longer travel long distances. Oh, they could get on a plane, but I'm not going to subject 2 82-year-olds to getting on airlines. So my wife and I took the 7-hour drive from Atlanta up to Northern Virginia, and we hung out with my parents and my brother over the weekend. And we drum roll, please. I don't care if you're a hater, be a hater. Don't hate the game, or what is it? Hate the player, not the game. Hate the game, not the player. Whatever it is. Got to watch my Washington Commanders win their first playoff game since 2005. Ooh. Oh, stop it! They're Are you nervous? Is Jaden Daniels making you nervous, John?
No.
All right. Well, you give us our day. They may not make it past Detroit reasonably, but you know what? Nobody expected this team to do jack squat this year, and they ended up 12-5 at the end of the year. And they won their first playoff game since 2005. That we call them the what is everybody calling them, like the coronary commanders or something like that, because they always seem to win in the last drive of the game at the very last minute. So anyway, so love it.
Hey man.
Anyway, that's a nutshell. Sorry, that's the cliff notes.
Hey, that's better than my my Flyers. So
better than your Flyers? We're not even talking about the same sport there, son. The Capitals are actually the Capitals are doing very well.
You're talking. I'm sorry. I get that.
The Washington football team Commanders.
I know. Yeah. I got them mixed up with your hockey team. I know you're a hockey guy, and I know it's hockey time, so you know. I thought you
Well,
would.
okay, I'm not a bandwagon guy. I've been a Redskins fan all my life, and then
Yeah,
we know that
give
they
you
had to change the name, but they sucked for about 30 years. You know, it's like since basically since the late 80s, early 90s when they won their Super Bowls. So you know what, we deserve a little bit. And Don, I apologize. I'm not gonna dig. I'm not that kind of football fan. Respect my fellow football fans. Great game. Love those games that come down to the wire. Hate them,
yeah,
love them, love-hate relationship with those games. But anyway, it was a great game.
Good.
Michelle, how has your time off been for you?
It's been, it's been busy. But the only thing I'm really going to talk about is I actually got cat scratch fever.
Well,
Did y'all think it was a real
legit.
thing? Probably not,
Did
right?
Ted Nugent come over?
No, it was actually cat scratch fever.
Yeah, I've
I
heard
was,
about it, but I've never
I
known
was,
anyone to have it.
yeah. Well, my husband had it once,
Oh,
from our cat, but that was a whole long story. But this, I was watching a friend's cat while they were out of town, and it stayed in their place, but it had never been left alone, and it had already been abandoned 3 times. So this cat was very sweet. It would come up to me as soon as I got in the house. It would come up to me, love all over my ankles, and then start growling and hiss and latch on. And every time I go, it'd take me a half hour to get around the couch, to get to the treats. But anyway, after about 5 days, my leg was just, gone. It
yeah.
was just, so anyway, I ended up getting cat scratch fever. I spent 30 hours or approximately that asleep in bed with 101,
Damn.
and my legs swelled up all the way to my knee. It was totally red and had a big round part of it
Holy
that was
crap.
just, yeah. But everything else from my knee down and this ring was red. I mean red. So I had to get
Wow.
on medicine and the whole bit, but now it's all right. It's good. It stopped itching. It's all the swelling's down, and
Yeah. And that's the
yay.
last
So
time Michelle has a cat over her house.
Well,
well,
you
I
know what that
even
means.
left it over. What?
I was gonna say, you know what that means, John. So when you do Michelle's spot, you have to do cat scratch fever. Although you can only do it for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Down, down,
Yeah.
down,
I
down,
can do the
down,
intro. Yeah, the
down.
intro to it. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
There you go. I'll take that. That's a good song. But everything's cool now, and I got a lot of other stuff going on, but I'm
Yeah,
handling it. So
nice. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
had a good Christmas and New Year's. I was really happy. I had all my children and grandchildren here, so that was fun having them all here. My oldest son, lives in Connecticut, so he flew down for Christmas and stayed until I think a week, 2 days before the New Year because he had to go back for work. But it was nice having all them. And then I got news from my middle son, JP, officially be number 10 coming. So I have number 10
Oh,
grandchild coming in
wow.
April. I was like, okay, buddy, keep it in your pants. Go get fixed. Go get something. I said, that's 5 kids. I said, you don't need any more than that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know what it is yet. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. But
But
they'll
you
let me
don't
know.
care.
I don't care at this point,
No.
but the girls
Yeah.
have taken over, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping for a boy. I think actually, if it's a boy, it'll even out. I think it even out.
Oh, so
So
it's not that taken
yeah,
over bad.
it's not bad, but yeah, I'm just glad that they're all healthy and doing
Right.
well. So I'm kind of that's about it. Work's been busy. Been scratching and itching to get back onto the show. It's been it's been nuts. I miss doing the show. It's like Wednesdays.
Yeah.
The last couple Wednesdays, it's been nice. The first one was nice because I actually got to get some rest. I worked the night before this show, guys, so I don't get home till about 5:30 in the morning. So I have to get this show put together and list it on YouTube before I go to bed. And that usually takes me about a half an hour. So that's 6:30. I got to get my butt back to bed and get some sleep, and then wake up to do this show. And then after this show is done, I leave the house at 8 to go start my 9 to 5 shift again. So, but tonight's my Friday. And I'm just glad we're back on the air and getting some advocacy started and for the new year. And like I said, I think it's going to be a slow process, but I think we're used to things being slow in this when it comes to our industry and I was going to say our community, but no, our community isn't slow. we want things to happen, and I think we've got a lot happening real soon in the new administration and what's going on with the Supreme Court, and I think the change in Congress and the Senate. I think all that stuff. I think it favors us in a way. But we're going to talk a little bit about the. I don't know if you got that article about the low nicotine thingy, Timmy. Do you have one?
The Biden ban?
Yes, sir. Do you have that in your
There's a
arsenal?
there's a couple of them out there.
I have the FDA.
It all depends on which one you want me to read.
I have the FDA. We got to do something first. We got to say hello to everybody. Oh man, I almost forgot.
Yeah.
Timmy didn't even say nothing.
We don't want to forget people. We got a kumbaya crowd on tonight. So I'm
going to do this.
It doesn't matter if it's 2. It doesn't matter if it's 22. It doesn't matter if it's 2002. We've never had 2002 people watching the show at one time, but that's a dream. We can all have dreams. And that's cool. So we've got 6, 7. Oh, somebody slid the fuck in right there at the end. So hey everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wednesday night We're Back show. Welcome to 2020. I can't even talk. I don't even know what year is it. Am I Rip Van Winkle? It's 2025. Welcome back to the show. Let's see who's in the wonderful chat. Some beautiful faces, some people that we've missed dearly. And right out of the gate, I need to get my singing gills on for this one, because we got Land of the Lost World of JJ in the house. He said, "Let's go, wind it up." What's up, Land of the Lost? What's up, JJ? How are you doing, brother? Good to see you. Welcome back. So we got Robert Lawyer on the show, and if you wanted to take a spelling bee right now, how would you spell lawyer, John? How would you spell lawyer? Don't look at the chat.
Oh no, I saw that when we started the show. I was like, I couldn't remember if I've seen that name before. I was telling Michelle, remember Michelle? I was like, is that a new name?
No, it is new. It is new to the show. Robert Lawyer, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Great to see you. Looking forward to hanging with you tonight. Chat with us, hang with the folks. Good people's in the chat, and he's from Philly. No hate. There's a good chance.
Philly love right here. Philly love.
Yeah, we might if we somehow by a miracle, Robert, pull it off and beat Detroit in Detroit this Saturday night. There's a good chance we could be seeing each other for a third time this year. Hey, we're 1-1. We gotta have a tie. We gotta have a tiebreaker on the road.
Time out, Timmy. That would mean the Rams losing to the Eagles, and that's not happening. So you'll be facing us.
Okay. Look. I'm not. I said could. Look, I'm like every negative vape article out there. It could be. It might be. It's possible. There's a chance that Robert Lawyer and myself could be visiting with each other for the divisional championship game, taking us to the big dance. So anyway, welcome to the show, Robert. Miss Lovely Mallory, do it your damn self. Gates is in his Zoid. What's up, Mallory? Good to see you. Welcome back. Welcome to 2025. You're alive. We're all alive. That's the best part. And some of us are alive because of one reason. What's that reason, Michelle?
Oxygen.
Vaping. That's right. We're vaping and we're staying alive. So staying alive.
That's right.
Anyway, what else? We got the awesome bear hunter, Jeffrey. I don't own a bear, Zamora. And I feel like Jeffrey, are you gonna become a UFC fighter in your in your alternate life, like boxing or UFC? Because your name just rolls right off the tongue. Like, and in this corner, weighing in at a brisk 135 pounds, Jeffrey the Bear Slayer
Zamora.
Zamora. I
Da, da,
just,
da,
dude, it goes. It's so perfect for you, brother. So perfect. You need a secondary career. We got Don Shirako Ayako in the house. My fellow Bucks fan there. Like I said, good game. I'm wondering, brother, did you get anything from Olight? I talked my brother into buying one of those cute little flashlights that goes on your keychain. So at any rate, I hope you got tons of Olight for Christmas, Mr. Don. How are you? And yeah, we got eight in here. That's all the names. Is that all the names for right now? Yeah. He said, Jeffrey said I sounded Russian.
Russian. Is that good or bad?
I don't know. I guess there's Russian announcers out there, Russian ring announcers. I don't know. I just every time I think of what's his name, Michael Buffer. Let's get ready to rumble. Yeah, that's all I think of. Yeah. So at any rate, so welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome back. Yeah.
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 Okay. Let me do this here. I'm trying to do 10 different things here.
Can we get rid of the banana?
The banana. What banana? You got a banana?
There's a dancing dog banana on the screen.
Oh yeah, that was my that thingy.
Well, Robert, that was what I was going for. I was going to give him a spelling test and see. I would be like, nope, you're wrong. It's Loyer, bro.
I wasn't gonna fall for your trick, Timmy. All right, hold on here. Yeah, I posted the link in the private chat. That's the one from.
Okay, let me go check.
From Mr. What is it? Jim McDonald, Mr. McDonald.
All right, so we've got three. Maybe there between the three of them, there might be a couple that we can go through.
Yeah,
but we'll read this one first.
Yeah.
I mean, would you like me? Would you like me to presente? Where you know? Are there any dancing bears in the 12 days of Christmas? No, there's 12 lords of leaping, 9 lords of dance. I don't have any dancing bears, but my dog, my eldest Harley, is completely infatuated with stuffed bears. So I do sometimes have some dancing bears, Jeffrey, because she slings them around. She like shakes her head and she likes to throw them around. So I don't know if you qualify that as dancing. That's probably more like they used to call it slam dancing, but like when you get in the pit, it looks like the poor animal is just being thrown about. He's crowd surfing the house. All right, so let me presente.
The article.
Now, this is something I believe that we have that's been kind of hanging around out there for quite some time. So this is not the other article, but we'll go through this one. So this is something that's been talked about, I think, for quite some time. And we kind of laugh and chuckle at the idea. But the FDA today announced a formal proposal to reduce nicotine in cigarettes and other combustible tobacco products below addictive levels. Under the rule, if it is finalized, the only legal combustible cigarettes would be so-called very low nicotine cigarettes, or VLNs, which contain about 5% as much nicotine as standard cigarettes. In addition to cigarettes, the rule would apply to cigarette tobacco, roll your own tobacco, most cigars, and pipe tobacco. It would not apply to expensive hand-rolled premium cigars or hookah tobacco, shisha. That's what it should have been, something that Ace Ventura said when he was doing the thing. It was like, Chicago. The rule, I already read that. The rule passed review by the Biden White House's Office of Management and Budget earlier this month. Implementation of the final rule, however, would require buy-in from the incoming Trump administration, which could also quash the proposal. Under the Congressional Review Act, any administrative rule issued 60 working days or sooner before an outgoing administration turns over power can be returned to pre-rule status by congressional resolution. The new administration could then simply remove it from consideration. Even if Trump allows the rule to go forward, it would take nearly 3 years to implement, and probably longer. And lawsuits by the tobacco industry could put the rule on hold potentially for many years. In its press release issued today, the FDA said it will accept public comment on the proposal beginning tomorrow, January 16th, until September 15th. After the public comment period, wow, that long?
Yeah.
So starting tomorrow until September 15th, there will be a public commentary period.
But it'll take them another 10 years to look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
well, true. The wheels of government turn rather slow. But
you can hear
what I'm just thinking. You know, it's also a good argument for vaping in that realm, just simply because we already have nicotine levels that can, you know, for lack of a better term. Go ahead.
I watched the actual press announcement today. I don't know how many people got a chance to, but I watched it, and he basically said, well, I think it was King who said it would, for those that wanted a better, or whatever words he used, a better way of taking nicotine, they may choose a federal regulated, FDA approved
sure,
e-cigarette, you know. And I thought, yeah, all 5 of them, you know.
yeah.
But he did mention it in that form, you know, that sense. So I thought, well, aren't you being big? You know,
they seem to forget this little piece of information, that no one trusts the government. And it's just I don't understand why they don't get that yet. I mean, it's not like it's something new. No one has trusted the government for years and years and years, and they've shown us why we shouldn't trust them. And for us to just to say, oh well, you granted those 5. Well, why those 5? There's no explanation of why those 5 have been picked. You know, just only fact they give you is, oh, well, these 5 are safe. Everybody else isn't safe. Yeah.
And you know, let's not forget, they're all tobacco.
They're all tobacco.
So, you know, it's not, you know, they're all made by the people that make the cigarettes. So why would we trust those, you know?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I really thought that those, however many 20 or so, or that are out there right now, I thought that those would help to set a precedent for other things to pass through and get through.
Yeah,
I still think they're stuck on the whole flavors thing. That seems to be their biggest itch, you know, so they want to fight that way. But I'm seeing here that it just says after the final rule is published, there would be a 2-year period before enforcement begins. That would mean manufacturers, people that are putting stuff on the shelf. But I'm just wondering, like, what that grandfather would look like. I mean, it says it would take 3 years to implement, but what does that mean? Like, you're going to offer VLNs at the same time you're going to offer regular, I mean, cigarettes in their current state, and give people a chance to try to transition to that? Because I'm looking at lock, stock, and barrel. If you just all of a sudden pull regular cigarettes, you know, off the shelf, and you put these VLNs on there, you know, people aren't gonna. It's gonna be chaos, because they're probably already gonna charge what they charge for cigarettes today, right? And then you're gonna have a bunch of people who aren't getting the nicotine content that they're used to. Now, it could drive more people to the vaping market.
Yeah.
If that's available.
Yeah. Well, right. If it's still available. But, you know, this could be reason right now. I mean, if they're going to threaten it, you know, I mean, it always seems like some of the general response from the public is that, oh, this stuff it's never going to happen. It's, you know, until it's 11th hour. Right.
Yeah.
And so I would say, you know, if this is something that's threatening and that's on the table, you know, maybe a push to get more people to try to switch to vaping and get them in our court before anything like this were to come along. You know, you potentially could increase the advocacy population for vaping exponentially if if people are like, oh shit, I don't want you you know, a 2 milligram cigarette. I want, you
Yeah.
know, I want my regular cigarettes that I'm used to. You know,
Yeah.
maybe there's an argument to be had for vaping in this.
And then what, we know what ends up happening is just, one of probably the largest black market cigarettes, worse than it is today out there. I mean, just the sole numbers of counterfeit cigarettes in California should send a present, whatever. I'm going to try to say it, but to the rest of the country, it's 45% of every pack of cigarettes in California is a counterfeit pack of cigarettes. And that's nuts. That's nuts. And if
Robert,
that's just, yeah,
I was going to ask. Well, Robert, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say we even had counterfeit cigarettes in Louisiana.
Yeah.
So it's not just California, you know.
Yeah.
I can just imagine. Be grounds for a new black market too.
Yeah. Shit, the black market should just patent their cigarettes and just call them black market cigarettes and just sell them in the country. Just cut the middleman right out. Hey, we're not going to lie to you. These are counterfeit cigarettes. We're black, but we're going to promise you the same milligrams of nicotine that you were getting before. Here you go. Here's your pack of cigarettes.
Right. I was going to ask Robert, what does a pack of cigarettes cost up there in the Philly corridor? Oh, I think here in Atlanta we're right around like $8 a pack or something like that. I think we were in the grocery store the other day and I was just sort of kind of commenting on the fact, I'm like, God, I'm so happy I don't have to go over and ask them to get stuff out of that thing for me anymore. I don't even know what cigarettes cost. So we were looking, and I think we saw somewhere in the neighborhoods of around 8. But my guess is up north, it's more expensive.
Yeah, it says Pennsylvania state cigarette tax is $2.60 per pack. So
that's tax. But so what do you pay for a pack?
I'm trying. It doesn't show that, but price of a pack of Marlboro cigarette $14 in Pennsylvania. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a pack of Marlboros are $14.
That's crazy. That's
it's like
crazy.
almost $9 here for a pack of Marlboros. But like the cheaper ones are like $7 something, just over $7.
Yeah.
And you think about that. I mean, even if you're a pack a day, right? I mean, that's $70 a week if you're at around 10. So I mean, and I used to buy cartons because I guess it was a little bit cheaper to go buy a carton at a time. But even that, you're blazing through that. If you're doing a pack a day. I mean, I think at this point I'm buying about 5 to 6 disposables every shot, and I pay less than that. And these things last me, well over like almost a month.
Here you go, coast to coast, Philadelphia to San Francisco. Price. I'm shocked at this because I thought it was higher, but a pack of cigarettes, same pack of Marlboros in San Francisco, are $13.
Okay, so that they were 10 in New York the last time I was aware of the cost. So I had gone to the counter. I was up there for some IT thing and walked into the grocery store and I said, "Yeah, can I get a pack of whatever?" And the lady goes, "Okay, that'll be 10 and some change." And I said 1 pack. She goes, "That is 1 pack." Yeah. I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And this was years ago.
Yeah,
this was years ago. So 14 microwave. What's up? Welcome back to the show. Welcome to 2025. I'm still leaving you on 1 second. That's what my New Year's resolution was. Don't change. Don't change a damn thing. So I'm still leaving you on 1 second. Yeah. So
1 second.
Yeah. Don't how many you do that? I know you do. You put something in the microwave. You put something in your microwave. That's okay. But I thought I was like, oh my God, we're like in the preview of a movie or something like
no, I was
rated V for vaping.
I feel bad because I had that cool little microwave thing for microwave and I can't remember where I put it.
No, I do it all the time. I sit there and I put something in the microwave like my coffee. I put it in there for a minute. I stop it at 59 seconds because I don't want to hear the beep, beep. I don't want to hear the beep. And then I walk away, and then you go in the kitchen, and then you're like, God, what time is it? And you turn around and you
Yeah.
look at the microwave, and it's
Yeah.
stuck on 1 second. And you're like, damn
Yeah.
it. And you got to walk all the way over to the microwave and hit the stop button so you can see what time it is. All right.
Yeah.
Well, see,
Anyway,
I
maybe
just
it's
hit
just
the
me.
stop button. I don't hit, you know, the pause button and
You just
open it.
open the
I hit
door.
the stop button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just don't hit the the stop button, and it won't give me the second. So
That's okay. I put French fries in the air fryer last night, and I was making a hamburger, and I ate the hamburger and forgot about the fries. And then this morning when I got home, I was like, oh, I better clean the air fryer from cooking the French fries. And I opened it, and all the French fries are still sitting in there.
you were tired.
All right. So, how would a very low nicotine cigarette rule work, you might ask? I'll
Would.
tell you. Actually, Jim McDonald will tell us. The
Yeah,
FDA
Jimmy.
proposal would limit nicotine content in the affected products to 0.07 milligrams per gram, which is about 4% of the average 17.2 milligram content in the top 100 cigarette brands. Each standard American cigarette contains between 7.5 to 13.4 milligrams of nicotine. The amount of nicotine in a VLN cigarette is so small that users are unable to obtain enough nicotine to satisfy their cravings, no matter how much they smoke. Even constant puffing would not provide enough nicotine. So that begs the question, right? And I'll ask you, Michelle, and you, John. We were all smokers at one point. Did you really enjoy the flavor and the taste of a cigarette?
No.
Like, can you legitimately say for the number of decades that you smoked that you were like, oh, cigarettes are just so refreshing?
Not at all. Not at all. It was strictly the nicotine.
Yeah, it was the
And
nicotine.
and the hand to mouth. You
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Repetition. I mean,
Right.
for me too, I just like even when I used to carry those little, I don't know if you guys remember they used to have those little quick toothbrushes that had
Mm-hmm.
like a little bit of toothpaste on them. They were little packs. They're like maybe 2-3 inches, and it was a little brush with the little pick on it to clean your teeth too. I used to carry those with me because I didn't want my breath to stink, you know.
Exactly. Well, yeah, or back in the day, we carried around Banaka Blast. Remember that, John?
Right.
Banaka
But that was
Blast.
for other reasons too.
Yeah.
So.
That's for protection too. Women carried those as mace to keep us guys away from.
Well, that's Dave. That's what we're kind of like. That's what we're thinking is that, you know, if you don't have some kind of a transition, if it's inevitable that you're going to lose the cigarettes that you're used to and your only option will be VLNs, there's got to be a trade-off period, right? You're going to have to put people in a position to go, okay, I'll try slowly to switch over and get used to that. If this just drops on them, I mean, at the cost of a pack of cigarettes, you know, it's going to be rough on people's pockets at $14 a pack. You know, rather than buying 1 pack a day, you're buying 2 packs a day to try to make up the difference, right?
I was in my 20s when the cigarettes with the butts had the holes in them, and they were supposed to be, you know, basically the same thing. You didn't get as much smoke, but I remember I went through twice as many, you know, and it only took 3 or 4 packs, and I realized this is crazy. I'm going through way too many of these, you know. And I'd find myself pinching and hitting it more like a joint, you know, just to pinch off those holes so I didn't go through them as quick, you know. And I thought, this is crazy.
Well, imagine what it'd be like for a smoker, like going out to drink or something. Like your cigarette intake exponentially increases just based on that factor alone. Like if you're on VLNs and you're drinking, they better have a bunch of smoking patios for people so they could be out there chain smoking their way into the rest of the evening.
They're gonna have to hire a guy just to empty the ashtrays.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, they'll be emptying them every 5 seconds, and who knows? They'll probably burn faster too. Watch.
Yeah,
research.
There you go, Tim.
Yeah, you'll like you could probably hotbox a cigarette in like 1 puff, like, you know,
2 hits and it's gone.
gone, just burn away. Research suggests that users quickly tire of trying to satisfy their nicotine urges by smoking more and seek other sources of the drug or quit nicotine entirely. That's well, I didn't know that. So, but no one really has that challenge, right? I mean,
Yeah.
cigarettes are cigarettes the way they are now. So, I mean, it's not like you can go out there and find a more powerful cigarette. Anyway,
Well,
That's why you smoke 2 in a row sometimes. So
yeah,
that's true.
well, the whole. The first thing that comes to my mind with these is, are they going to take away the ability for someone to roll their own cigarettes? And is that tobacco going to be reduced in some way?
Yes.
Or is it going to be
top
left?
of the article?
Yeah.
Huh?
No, they said that it's going to apply across the board to roll your own tobacco as well.
Okay, so yeah, so they'll okay, yeah, because that's what I was wondering. Because I was thinking, well, shit, if this is the process, then I would just go back and just start buying, zigzags, buying my paper and rolling my own, because I need to get that nicotine in me. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but the only thing it would not apply to is expensive hand-rolled premium cigars or hookah tobacco or
Hookah,
shisha.
because hookah is religious.
Hookah bars are going to get popular. Hookah bars are going to get
hookah's it's a religious thing. That's why I tell them we need a church. We need a church of tobacco, and then they can't mess with us, because then we say it's a religious thing, and we need to, our own vape church. Tim could be a priest. We'll it'll work. It'll work. Sister Michelle down there. It'll be, and then Sister Allison. Wow, Sister Allison. John will be a pope. I got to be the pope. Come on, I'm Italian, so I got to be the pope. So.
Yeah, Don, I agree. I've been to a couple hookah bars, and I just did not find it as interesting or satisfying. I guess people like it. It's kind of a, I don't know. It's kind of a pinkies up kind of thing to do. I think cool bars and stuff
trendy,
like
yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of someone that I grew up with, Assyrians, my aunt's Assyrian, so I get it's not like it was that. It's not like their generation treated it. And again, she's in her late 60s, but that was an after dinner thing. That wasn't an all day thing where you just go and do hookah all day like the kids are doing today. But it was basically something you did after dinner with dessert and coffee. And it was just kind of like a social thing where everyone would go and sit at the couch and do the hookah. They didn't put an apple up there and all this other nonsense. And it wasn't flavors, to be honest. It was just your basic tobacco that was up there. And so it was kind of a social thing, and more of a social thing and religious thing than it was, fad or whatever you want to call it. But
it seemed like for a while there it was really popular. Like everybody was running off and going to the hookah bars. I know they're still around. I just don't think they have the same appeal that they might have had when it was kind of a
crazy
trendy
here,
thing.
It went crazy here. I mean, there's still a bunch of them. There's a lot of Assyrian people here, so there's a lot of them there. And then now they've added, a few of them now have belly dancers. So as you're doing your hookah, there's a few belly dancers, dancing around the tables and stuff. And I'm going, okay, they're this close to becoming a strip bar. They're just this close to becoming a strip bar. Hey, they're just a stage away, Tim. They're a stage away. And give me a good stripper song, Tim.
Oh God. What's that one by I think the band was called A Brand New Day. Oh God, what was that song? Oh shit, I can't think of it.
I was gonna go pour some sugar on
Motley Crue, girls. There you go.
Girls. I was gonna go pour some sugar on me. That's another big freaking stripper song.
Girls. Because that whole song is about strip clubs. That whole song is about going to different strip clubs.
Dave likes it.
I'll have to find that song while someone else is talking. I'll find that song. I believe the band was called A Dark New Day, and it was a song about strippers. I just can't remember. Anyway, it's not important.
It's not really.
So in theory, cigarette users would quickly turn to less risky nicotine products like vapes, nicotine pouches, smokeless tobacco, or nicotine gum. Of course, that theory assumes that an illegal market wouldn't immediately pop up to provide smokers the standard cigarettes they're accustomed to. That is going to, by all means, exist. And who knows what else, right?
Yep.
People dipping cigarettes in nicotine or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Who's
For,
I mean, let's be honest. And kids. It's not just kids that are creative. We'll get creative. We'll find a way.
Yeah, that's true. The new prohibition will bring a new black market up, as we were saying. It is expected by many experts that a very low nicotine mandate would result in a massive black market of standard cigarettes that could rival the black market for alcohol created by the prohibition in the 1920s. Such an outcome would be an enforcement nightmare and could create new organized crime groups and strengthen existing ones. I just don't. My brain can't compute that these people don't seem to recognize, or they just ignore the fact that all of this regulation or these types of things that they want to do, although they paint it under the guise of protecting public health and this, that, and the other, or whatever, people are going to go get what they want to get, whether they're going to do it legally or illegally. And you're just going to make it that much more dangerous by doing this stuff. I mean,
well, even that first sentence in the next paragraph makes me fucking laugh.
The FDA doesn't believe that an illicit market would be significant enough to outweigh the benefits of the product standard. Well, right. I mean, but that they're going to say that, right? Because this is what they want to do. I mean, what evidence do they have that states that that's factual? I mean, what are we going to do? Spend our time looking at X all day long with interactions between cops and guys buying pack of cigarettes outside of a 7-Eleven or something? You know, I mean, buying it out of the back of a car. It seems so ludicrous.
Just a simple fact that okay, yes, I know it's our information and our studies that say that, you know, vaping is 99% safer than smoking. Just that alone, compared to what they're still trying to put a product out that's still going to have over 4,000 chemicals in it. No matter what they do, they're not going to eliminate those chemicals from burning tobacco. And they know we got a product like what we have right now that is proven to be 99% safer than smoking cigarettes, but yet that's not good enough. Their idea, of course, because it's their idea, is much better. And it makes no sense to me. You're still burning tobacco. You're still burning paper. You know, you're still inhaling through some shitty filter that they put on these cigarettes. It just, to me, the whole thing doesn't make sense. I don't know, Jeffrey. Metallica "Turn the Page" would be a good stripper song.
That's actually a cover song. That's a cover song. It was originally done by Bob Seger.
Bob Seger, yeah.
And Metallica covered it. Here I am on the road again. There I go up on the stage. There I am playing a song.
Michelle, jump in anytime.
Here I go. Turn the page.
But, you know, I heard somebody's theory out there today was this whole thing with Biden was done this week because he knows that it's going to be overturned and it'll make Trump the bad guy for giving cigarettes back to people.
Yeah.
And he'll leave his office. Biden will leave his office with, "Hey, look what I tried to do for you guys." You know, so that's and that makes sense to me, but maybe not. I mean, you know, it just depending on where your loyalty lies.
You're right. You hit the nail on the head, because I think he's and I don't want to get political here, but I think he's doing a lot of things to make life difficult for Trump and his appointees and both houses difficult in the next coming 4 years. I think there's a lot of things, but our concern is smoking right now, so let's stick with that. I don't want to get all public on you.
Right, but I mean, you know, while I agree, I still, there's that window, right, where, you know, it'll just get, you know, effectively reversed and tabled, and it'll, you know, it'll be a conversation for another day. I mean, that's not to say, I mean,
Well, the
it's just
problem is, Tim, though, it's yes, we know it will be overturned and changed when Trump comes in there. The problem is where does that sit in priority for Trump when he does come in office? And we're not something that is at the above of that list when it comes to priorities. I mean, granted, yeah, to us it's important, but to Trump and the rest of his cabinet and the rest of the country, where vaping stands as far as what something he needs to take care of, even cigarettes. This issue alone, they're not beating around the bush when they say it's going to take 2 or 3 years, because that's what it's going to take. It may take the end of his term to come to this conclusion whether or not this is something that should apply. There should be low nicotine cigarettes out there, because to me, like I said, his priorities has, where vaping is on that list of say 1,000 things, it's got to be 999.
yeah. That's a
This
good
we have to
song,
remember.
Jeffrey.
We have to remember too that this whole idea came about in 2019,
Yeah,
2018, and that was per the press release that they also mentioned that. And it was supposed to have happened. I believe they said it was in early 2020. Well, it's just now getting to this point where they're, going to accept people and
yeah,
their opinions. So, I mean, it's going to take years,
yeah,
even if it does happen, but
yeah,
I don't think it will.
yeah.
True. I made a couple points, and I'll keep going on the article. But one, I just don't seem to quite understand why people who supposedly represent, the better of the United States seem to always have this bombastic attitude that they know better,
Yeah.
than us. Why do you? I mean, I see an individual making a decision for millions and millions and millions of people, and those people may not agree with that decision. I just don't know what drives people to maybe consider both sides of a story here. But beyond that, why don't they
Money.
just why if public health is your concern, right? Because let's be realistic. I mean, the one thing that this decision or this choice to go this route completely overlooks, and that's the fact that nicotine is not the cancer causing agent here. If you're
Right.
worried about public health, you're worried about a nominal addiction that rivals caffeine, but you're concerned about reducing nicotine to drive down addiction in the hopes that it causes people to quit smoking. But people aren't going to just quit overnight. It's going to have
Yeah.
to get to a point of frustration or an exhaustion of all other avenues before they walk away from nicotine altogether, because they're going to be able to find it in another delivery system or in another
Right.
format. But with that said, that you still got all the cancer causing agents that are the
Yeah.
primary thing. And isn't one of the hot button topics as of late, more centered around the health system, the health community, and the health
Right.
system. You're not getting people out of the hospitals and out of treatments and not dealing
Yeah.
with cancer and things of that nature. You're leaving that residual element as a part of it. So it
Yeah.
doesn't solve too much, just
Yeah.
because you're worried about people being addicted to nicotine.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
one
know.
one of the other things for me is and I'm going to try to say this as well as I can, but I think they're not looking at the other effects of nicotine when it comes to is this going to benefit the person that needs to have the ritual of smoking, the hand to mouth and all that other stuff that applies to it, because everybody's different. Everybody smokes for a different reason. Some is for
Right.
stress, some people is because it's just a force of habit, or all these things apply. And I think vaping addresses all those things. You have the nicotine, you have the mouth to lung feeling, you have the direct lung feeling, you have the ritual of having something in your hand. There's so many factors that apply, and this what they're putting out there to me makes absolutely no sense, because number one, like Tim is saying, and I have said, you're still putting those 4,000 other chemicals in your body, and to me, I don't understand why that isn't the first thing that comes up to them. It's just like, how, let's reduce smoking, but also let's reduce smoking, let's make the nicotine less. But how about let's try to find out how we can reduce those other chemicals that are in there. Can we force the tobacco companies to stop putting those preservatives and all that other nonsense in these cigarettes that are also killing people every single day? But you never see that. You never see them talking about the other things that are killing people that are in cigarettes. And to me, it's just baffling. It's baffling that never comes up. And they're doctors.
Ammonia is put in cigarettes, and that's strictly to make it more addictive.
Yeah.
And that, but let's face it, FDA has approved what goes in the cigarettes, and that's okay with FDA.
Yeah.
Our
4 chemicals are so bad, but yet 4,000 other chemicals that they find every day in every pack of cigarettes. Would it affect? Would it hurt the bottom dollar of a pack of cigarette or the manufacturer if they took out 3,000 of those chemicals? I don't know. I mean, to me, I get it. Everything in today's society has to have some sort of shelf life, and if it can't stay on the shelf for this amount of period of time, yeah, I get it. Most companies would lose money. So if you had a can of peaches that only lasted a week that are on the shelves, yeah, sure, you're going to have a lot of product that's coming back or spoiled. But I mean, for me, it's just like, well, we know what's in these cigarettes. It's been listed since 1960 something. All the chemicals that are in a single cigarette, and when you light that cigarette, this is what you're doing to your body. But yet, that's okay. That's okay. If God forbid, if we have a vape e-liquid that has some funky name to it and it's got some flavor to it, and then, oh, God forbid, that, and to me, that makes me laugh, because the positives of vaping are much better than the positives of smoking a cigarette. And I think that's all that should be the bottom line when it comes to the FDA. And it should be, okay, yeah, here's one cigarette. It's got 4,000 chemicals in it. God forbid, I don't know what the total amount of chemicals are in one vape. I'm not sure. I know we all know there are 4 or 5 ingredients in every e-liquid, but I don't know what comes out of that vapor. I don't know. I know there's studies out there, but I never read exactly what comes out from that vapor. And I know it's more than what's put in. But it's got to be less than 4,000.
Yeah, the last study that I read, it was 100. I believe it was 79.
Yeah.
Different chemicals went after it's been heated.
Yeah.
So 179 versus 7,000.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. And unfortunately, their word is gold and our word isn't. So, and it's just like we're fighting not just big tobacco, the FDA, but the media as well, social media as well. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off, Tim.
I'm mad about it.
It's our year. It's our year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think, and to kind of end that sentence about 179 versus 4,000, I think you have to look at the levels of the chemicals that are entering your system, and so they're microns, well, not microns, but they're significantly less impactful coming from a vape, even at that 179 that might be in there. But we also know there's some MARD testing results out there where they heated devices a lot hotter than we would normally vape them at. Who knows on what intervals, amount of intake, all that other stuff. But I go back to
what makes it difficult, Tim. I think that's the part that makes it very difficult for not just the FDA, but for scientists as well, because we are all different. What Tim enjoys, me and Tim may vape, we may have the same device, the same coil, the same tank, the same e-liquid, but Tim's vaping it at 65 watts and I'm vaping it at 115 watts. Of course, it's going to be a little different when it comes out of that tank into our mouths. So, I mean, I think I get where it's difficult for a study to actually have a solid number because we're all different. So, I mean, it's insane. But I like I said, I'm sure there are plenty of people that have the exact fucking same device from tank to mod to coil to e-liquid. But we're just, you know, I like a hot vape. Tim likes a colder vape. You know, somebody might like something in the middle. It's just, you know, and that's the effects of that liquid at that different temperature, of course, is going to be different. You know, where a cigarette, you light it and you fucking hit it and it just burns to the end. And some people even smoke it far past that.
Well, I'm also looking at this from this causation effect. You know, if VLN cigarettes become the new norm, and it does cause existing cigarette smokers to have to double up on their cigarette intake, that just means that they're putting those chemicals into their system at higher levels than they normally would have otherwise. So I think that creates a risk in and of itself, you know, by having people have to double down. You know, I need 2 packs a day versus 1.
And I'm not an expert when it comes to different cigarette brands and what they state, but like, you know, there are brands that are out there that are saying they have like less preservatives, less. I think it's not Lucky Strikes, but that Indian brand, I forget what it's called, but they say it's a more natural tobacco, huh?
Strikes.
Is it? I can't remember the name of it, but it's available here in California. But they swear that there are less chemicals in their cigarettes than the average pack of cigarettes. So they use less preservatives to keep the tobacco, you know, shelf life higher than say the Marlboro brand. And I right now off the top of my head, I can't remember. I know there's an Indian on the package. I can't remember the name of it. American Spirits. Thank you, Mallory. That's the brand. Yeah. American Spirits. And to me, that still makes me laugh because it's just like, okay, so well, okay, if you're a more natural tobacco and there's less chemicals in the cigarettes, what is in there? What's in there? What am I still getting? What of the 7,000 or 4,000 chemicals are reduced in that one cigarette? Tell us. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm done. I'm done with all the nonsense, all of it.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, we're all done with the nonsense. I mean, I think we're all kind of sick and tired of being sick and tired. All right, so moving along, the comical sentence for John. The FDA doesn't believe that an illicit market would be significant enough to outweigh the benefits of the product standard and is counting on federal, state, and local police authorities to enforce against the black market anyway. However, cigarettes are produced around the world, and police have never proven able to stop committed smugglers and sellers of alcohol or illegal drugs in the past. The FDA's response is essentially not our problem.
Yeah. They're more focused on handcuffing and throwing people down on the boardwalk for having a vape. That's what their focus is on. It's not the kids that are smoking cigarettes. Oh, God forbid, let them smoke cigarettes. But they catch you on the boardwalk with that vape, boy, they're gonna read you your rights, throw you down on the ground there, cuff you, send you in.
How are they going to know? How are they going to know unless these VLNs are marked a certain way? How are you going to know? Like, let's say Marlboro has a VLN and Marlboro has regular ones. I mean, somebody could go get regular cigarettes and throw them in their VLN pack. You know what I mean? Just pull the VLNs out, throw regular cigarettes in there, walk around on the boardwalk, smoking your cigarette. I mean, how are they going to tell the difference? Cops can't smell nicotine. So.
They're going to have cops going through the ashtrays. Oh, we got you. We got you.
It's just
and yeah, you know, they can't enforce anything else, but yeah, and that last sentence, you know, not our problem. Yeah, it is your problem because this is what you're enforcing.
You're
making this. Yeah, you're making this market, and to say that it's not your problem is just kind of like a slap in the face to us.
Correct, Dave. Yeah, I mean, it's still combustion, right? So, I mean, you're still putting that stuff, you know, and the chemicals. Fuck the chemicals. I mean, the tar itself, just that black lung tar is not good. So, you know, you're not ending the combustion element of it. Says the FDA will not punish individuals who possess or use illegal standard cigarettes, but local authorities will make their own laws that may apply to individuals who, for example, possess certain quantities or give them to friends. So
It's starting to sound like marijuana, right?
Yes.
You got less than an eighth, you're okay.
all right,
Yeah.
so you're going to take regular cigarettes off the market. You're going to replace them with VLNs, and then your enforcement element is going to come at the drug war level, right? Because all they're going after is the distributors, the sellers, the smugglers, the whomever. That's going to be their enforcement arm. So you can still, as long as you can get them, they're not going to do anything to you. So you just won't be able to buy them in the store. You're going to have to go somewhere else.
You're going to have that guy in the trench coat that's going to walk up to you. Menthol? You want menthol? You want regular?
Exactly.
I got Marlboro Reds. I got Camels. I got,
whatever you want. I got what you need, homie. Smaller.
They still make those.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they do. I remember what were the little skinny Capris? Remember the Capris?
Yeah, Capris, man.
Yeah.
My ex-wife tried those. She thought it would help her quit smoking. I was like, yeah. I go, she ended up buying 2 packs.
Smaller illicit markets for products like pipe tobacco are likely to arise too. Will the entire hobbyist pipe economy, pipe shops, and hand carved pipes, locally blended and imported tobaccos instantly crumble? Or will this small segment of the tobacco market simply be ignored by the FDA and local authorities? I could certainly see Nick pouches becoming mega popular if they aren't already. I mean,
they're everywhere now.
Yeah. Who was the quarterback that was seen on the sidelines popping his in? Was that Baker? Was that Baker Mayfield? Yeah. Will there be a market for very low nicotine cigarettes? There is just one company currently selling commercial VLN cigarettes, 22nd Century Group, which produces cigarettes under the VLN brand in both unflavored and menthol varieties. The company has struggled to stay afloat in recent years, as cigarette consumers have shown no interest in 22nd Century's products. Note, the term VLN has been used generically to describe all very low nicotine cigarettes for longer than 22nd Century has used VLN as a brand name. However, the FDA now refers to VLN cigarettes as VLNC, very low nicotine content cigarettes, presumably to distinguish between all VLN cigarettes and the 22nd Century VLN brand.
Yeah.
It's called this.
Yeah, we're gonna blind. I mean, all right. Let me ask you this question, both of you guys. Do you in? I'm not going to say in our time because we're all old, but do you? I'm just saying because I know what I'm about to say is impossible in our time. Do you feel there will be a time, not just here in the United States, but in the world? Let's just say in the United States. Let's pretend that we're that proactive here. A time where cigarettes will not be available at all, and if you do, how many years down the road do you see that coming? Tim,
no, I don't
repeat the question.
Do you feel that not in our time, because like I said, I don't think it'll happen, but do you feel there will be a time in history, in American history, that there will not be any cigarettes available whatsoever?
No, I think cigarettes will always be around. I mean, there's my beautiful wife. Everybody say hello to Elena. She's down there with waving. She's waving to everybody. Well,
I am going to have to come up with some sort of a thing for Elena when she comes on.
Yeah, gotta have her own theme
song. They have that new app. See, I'm going to take your picture and your wife's picture and put it in that AI thing where you hug each other. And then I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that as the meme for when she comes on.
There you go.
Disio check. You're right. You agree with us. No, cigarettes. There will never be a time. In our lifetimes. I mean, maybe long after we've become worm food or something like that, there could be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How long into the future do you see that happening? and I know it's not going to be in our time. I don't think, we've probably got a good 30 years left in us. I'm sorry. I'm just going by numbers, actual average numbers. They say 80. So I'm giving us 30 years. So I don't see it happening in 30 years, but do you see it eventually, say 50 years from now, 60 years from now, that cigarettes would be completely wiped out?
The only thing I could think of, and I hope, I think there'll always be a form of a smoking device that actually has smoke and nicotine. But my hope is that they, just like in vape, they've made it safer.
Yeah.
And I do believe at some point in the future, maybe 100 years, I don't know, but in the future that they'll make smoking some better and still keep it addictive. Yes, I think,
Yeah.
but I think there's going to be some innovation in cigarettes and some, what am I trying to say? Come to realization that there is death in them as they are now. So let's
Yeah.
make them a little better. And I think it won't be, I mean, obviously vape is better than a cigarette, but
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there'll always be cigarettes.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
Of some sort. Yeah. I think it's just become, yeah. Well, socially, I don't want to say that cigarettes are socially acceptable, because they're not. But I like alcohol. Alcohol has become socially acceptable. It's just, a thing that we all do as humans, is have a drink from time to time.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like you're right. I think, maybe 50, 60 years from now, you'll still have people hanging out at outside of a bar, having some sort of form of a cigarette, or whether it's vaping or something other than that. That's going to be, to everyone's standard as being healthy, okay to do without, dying or coming up with some sort of cancer or stuff like that. But I'm with you. I don't see it ever going away. And like what's his name here says, it goes back in human history. I'm surprised. I'd be surprised if cavemen didn't smoke some sort of cigarette back then and rolled it in tobacco in banana leaves. I don't know. I'm just saying. It goes so far back.
I mean, I think indigenous tribes and all sorts of people found, some kind of, natural plant, that they could, get high off of, or have some, passive, for relaxation. I'm sure they were very, very resourceful in that regard. Although I've never seen a caveman based film where cavemen were actually smoking anything. I did see the Quest for Fire, where they ran around with that little lantern of fire.
Once they figured out fire, Tim, they just started burning shit. That's how I feel. I feel like just human nature. It just, I think they saw fire, they saw its possibilities, and I think from that point on, they tried to literally burn everything. It's just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like a little kid. Yeah, it's like, let's see what we can put in there, and that's great. That's innovation. I mean, that's how innovation became what it is today. But I see that. I see the caveman going, "Ooh, fire," and then saying, "Okay," and then taking let's throw a rock in there and see what happens. Let's throw this in there and see what happens. It had to have been that way, and I feel at some point in time, one of those guys said, I wonder if we could smoke this, and then started smoking it. So smoking something. But I think, I don't think that we just had fire and we just said, oh, let's cook meat in it. I think, as a child, knowing the first time I saw fire, I couldn't wait to see what I could burn, and I'm not being a pyro, but you're a kid. You want to know what happens when you threw this in there, what happens when you throw that in there. So I'm assuming cavemen were the same way. They're like, oh, fire. Okay, let's throw a coconut in there. I don't know if they called it a coconut back then, but, I'm going Monty Python now. Yeah. They didn't have aerosol cans to find out what happens there, because I know everyone is throwing an aerosol can in a fire to see what happens. I'm sorry, but that's just common shit. Timmy, did you, Tim?
What?
Did you not throw an aerosol can in a fire at some point in time in your
I
childhood?
think that we threw lighters on the ground to watch them
Yeah.
explode. We took aerosol cans and held lighters and made
Yeah.
blow torches out of them. We all did dumb stuff.
Right,
Came
right.
in, smoked Winston's.
Yes, we all did dumb stuff.
Oh yeah, that was big. Cigarette commercials during the Flintstones. I remember someone telling me
Yeah.
about.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he used to, yeah.
I remember those. Yeah, and
Barney Rubble.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, go ahead, Timmy. I'm
All right.
sorry I brought
Okay.
the show
So
down.
that's okay. In 2019, 22nd Century received FDA authorization for its very low nicotine cigarettes, originally using the Moonlight brand through the pre-market tobacco application pathway. And in 2021, the agency granted the product a modified risk designation. 22nd Century began test marketing the cigarettes branded as VLN in 2022. Since then, the company has seen its stock value sink and has been forced to engineer several gimmicky reverse stock splits in which shares are combined to artificially raise the stock price to remain listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange. People just aren't buying it. They're just not interested. Like, yeah, I'm sure like when you walk up there and they're like, what's that? What's a VLN? And then they read what it says. They're like, very low nicotine. No, man, I don't want that. I don't want that. At any rate, it's not known if the major tobacco companies will produce VLN versions of their popular brands. If they don't believe smokers will adopt them, they may focus their future on non-combustible alternatives while fighting the FDA in court, which could go on for many years. If they do, each new cigarette will require a PMTA submission. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that first sentence made me laugh because it's just like you said that they don't adopt it, but they don't realize that we're all different. And one of the things that's different about us is Tim may enjoy a Camel, and I may enjoy a Marlboro Red, and somebody else may want this brand, and somebody else, and there are diehards. I would not smoke anything that wasn't a Camel, even if I didn't have a cigarette. And I needed a cigarette, and so I tried to bum one off of someone, and somebody tried to give me a Marlboro Red or some other brand. I would probably take it sometimes, but I wouldn't enjoy it. I wouldn't enjoy it like it was my Camel cigarette. Were you that way at all, or did you care at all?
I don't know that I really cared.
You didn't care, huh? I was a dieharder. So if it wasn't a Camel, I would have smoked it, but I wouldn't have enjoyed it.
I mean, I think beggars can't be choosers. So, like when you're out there now, I can tell you this much: when I did care was when and I wasn't bumming all the time, but sometimes it would happen, and you'd be somewhere with friends, and I was a menthol smoker, and then you'd go, "Hey, man, look, yeah, can I bum a cigarette off you?" Like, well, I got Marlboro Lights.
Yeah.
Like going from a menthol to a Marlboro Light just to get a
Yeah.
cigarette. That was probably one of the worst trade-offs ever.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, I feel like I'm just smoking dirt. That's exactly what I felt like. That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
But if it was in the same family, then no, I didn't care. If you had Newports and I was smoking Cools, or whatever the case was, Salem's or whatever the case was, I didn't really care as long as it was in the same family.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't that way. I mean, I took the cigarette. I'm not going to say no to the free cigarette, but I also didn't enjoy that cigarette because I knew it wasn't a Camel. And I don't know if it was just something in my head, did Camel have a different taste somewhat than most other brands, And if it didn't say Tarshkin, no, I'm kidding. I'm not going to go that far.
Turkish blend. Wait, put that back up, John. I had that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Just so check. Yeah, I wondered that too. We did address this on a show a few months back, a handful of months back, when that stuff was getting ready to kind of come out. I feel like we were kind of effectively told to kind of keep not our mouths shut, but like not kind of talk too much, just to maybe not bring as much attention to it. But I don't know that I've seen it or seen anything yet, or seen anybody distribute it. While we were told though, oh, it's perfect. It's the greatest alternative since nicotine and stuff. So I don't know why it's still kind of hushy. I just haven't seen anything done with it, or at
Yeah.
least I'm not seeing it in my feeds and conversations
Yeah.
and anything
Well,
like that.
well, from my understanding, aren't basically a majority of the inhalers that they have for other ailments, not for nicotine and smoking, but aren't they basically the same two chemical compounds that are in vaping? There's a
It's,
VG and a PG in there.
it's identical.
It's identical, correct?
Except they have more chemicals in inhalers.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Because they have the actual ingredients needed to help whatever it's being used for, whether it's for asthma or whatever. But yeah,
Even
that always makes me laugh. But you know, VG and PG is okay in there.
right,
It's just not okay in the vape.
right,
Uh,
right.
Yeah, yeah. Check. We had a couple on, and they were coming. They were producing a new product line that
right.
included that stuff,
Yeah.
and we were told that it's
We should
great that
have
we're
her back on. See if
yeah,
they've
just
gotten
yes,
further.
just see if there's been any progress with it.
Yeah.
My guess is just anytime we talk too much, rant and rave, bring something up, it might draw attention to ourselves, and I think that they were just at the current moment trying to but
Yeah.
didn't yeah, I think they said, oh well, it's not on anyone's radar, it's not anything anyone's looking for. But anytime you start to mass produce something and it makes its way out, people aren't going to keep their lips shut. They're just gonna
Yeah.
like, oh,
But
you
yeah.
gotta try this.
Yeah, they're probably also probably waiting to see what happens with our industry because you're basically adopting something similar to what we have, and if we're having a hard time, they can just try to put a product like that out there and hope that it flies with everyone. And when vaping is the most hated thing in America, it's probably not a good idea to put a product out there like that. You might as well
Yeah.
wait and see what happens.
Yeah,
But
they were
yeah,
saying it was a lot more malleable, like,
yeah,
it still had the throat hit. It's, like you could really kind of tweak it to like whatever style you were looking for. So we were obviously very curious to hear more,
yeah.
because, we're always seem to be under the gun and we're getting ready to lose this and lose that. So if there was another alternative, for us, then certainly we're
We
well,
jump on board. We jump on
yeah,
board. I mean, as
yeah.
long as we're getting the same effects and it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, I don't see why not. But again,
What
like Tim is saying, we didn't get a lot of information.
No, and whatever happened to that water vapor thing? Remember they were gonna
Yeah,
do
yeah,
those water vapor devices or something like that? It was something
yeah.
weird.
I don't
Um,
know. There's been that's we always kid that we're the loophole company or the loophole industry or community, and I think that's just another way of trying to get around the system, and I think a lot of times they don't realize that the FDA doesn't look at it as a whole new product, but the same
mm,
product. It's
yeah.
you're just putting it. What's that old saying? You can't put a pig in a tuxedo and whatever. I don't know what it is, but you know what I'm going at. It's still a pig, whatever, right? Or
Right.
isn't that the saying? You can
Yeah,
put it.
it's along those lines. I think it was in the
Yeah,
movie Tommy Boy. He used
Tommy
some
boy.
kind of used a reference very similar to that. I don't remember the line from the movie. I
Yeah,
just remember it was something that his dad said as a
yeah,
selling point, and
yeah,
then he kind of adopted it and won that big account
yeah,
and ended
yeah,
up saving the day.
yeah.
Funny guy. Um, Go ahead.
Funny guy. He dead.
Funny guy. Yeah, he's gone. Are VLN cigarettes safer than standard cigarettes? Here we go. Rubber meets the road, right? In a press release issued Monday, 22nd Century crowed about its dedication to health and nicotine harm reduction, but the only way VLN cigarettes provide a public health dividend is if consumers don't smoke them. That seems
True.
like an
True.
oxymoron.
Pretty
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah, VLN cigarettes are no less harmful than any other cigarette because the dangerous substance in cigarettes is not nicotine, but the smoke
Right.
itself. It is the thousands of chemicals and gases created by burning tobacco that cause the heart and lung disease and cancer that kills millions of people each year. Consuming nicotine without smoke poses very little risk for most people. By authorizing 22nd Century's very low nicotine cigarettes and giving the company license to claim its deadly cigarettes pose less risk than others, the FDA has turned the concept of harm reduction on its head and led to further demonization of non-combustible nicotine products. The only benefit a VLN cigarette rule may arguably provide is the likelihood that future generations would not become addicted to smoking. However, in the United States, teenage smoking is practically extinct already. So I mean, you know, like what's the other angle? You know, I mean, it's for protection of public health, but you're not protecting anybody unless that change leads to cessation. You got you can give people something. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all.
I will try to find that. I will find that episode for you and list it in the chat for you as Tim is talking.
Yeah, I doubt that too. You know what I mean? But they're, you know what, they're gonna find something wrong with everything if they have their way. I got to click over here. History of the very low nicotine rule. So let's get into the discussions around it. The tobacco industry successfully lobbied Congress to prevent the FDA Center for Tobacco Products from eliminating all nicotine in cigarettes. That's why the Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act, I like how the word, like the whole run is shorter than the acronym, only allows the agency to reduce nicotine content and not to remove it. By the time the TCA passed in 2009, the idea of drastically lowering nicotine content in cigarettes had already been discussed in tobacco control circles for at least 15 years. It remained something of a tobacco control fantasy until the first Trump administration provided a powerful advocate. Scott Gottlieb, Donald Trump's first FDA commissioner, made a VLN cigarette mandate a pillar of his comprehensive approach to nicotine and tobacco regulation, announced in June 2017. Another element of the plan was to ban menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars. In Gottlieb's scheme, the FDA would authorize a variety of nicotine vaping products that smokers could use to substitute for cigarettes, and he postponed the deadline for PMTA submissions for vapes to give the agency time to make the product review process more efficient, predictable, and transparent for manufacturers, which we know they haven't really done any of that. A year later, Gottlieb's FDA published an advance notice of rulemaking for the very low nicotine standard. However, the commissioner soon became consumed by the Juul panic, and both the VLN standard and the plan to create reasonable vaping product standards along with the menthol cigarette ban were apparently abandoned. Gottlieb resigned from the agency in spring 2019 for personal reasons. But tobacco control hardliners in the FDA had not given up on the VLN mandate, and in April 2021, it was reported that the Biden administration would carry on with the plans to reduce nicotine in cigarettes and ban menthol cigarettes. In June 2022, the agency formally announced its plan to impose a very low nicotine standard. The FDA had issued a draft rule banning menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars 2 months earlier. President Biden put both the VLN rule and the menthol ban on hold during the 2024 election year, despite pressure from FDA Commissioner Robert Califf, for fear of scaring away voters who smoke. But with Biden's loss in November and his almost certain political retirement, the restrictive VLN rule has made a sudden last-minute comeback. The menthol ban, however, has apparently been permanently abandoned. I think that was a travesty from the beginning. I mean, to ban menthol, I mean, just the impact to the socioeconomic component of that, the demographic alone, I think it just had a bad look all written all over it. Now it will be up to incoming President Donald Trump and his health team to decide whether to pursue the prohibitionist policy. Trump and his advisors have not commented on the proposal, and their positions on tobacco regulation aren't known. Trump himself has historically opposed smoking, but it's not clear if his distaste for cigarettes would mean support for restrictive laws. Part of the reason for proposing the rule with less than a week left in Biden's term may be Democrats' desire to embarrass the new president by forcing him, this is where you were saying, Michelle, by forcing him to jettison a rule that would benefit public health and punish big tobacco. R.J. Reynolds, the manufacturer of Newport and Camel cigarettes and Views vapes, was Trump's single largest 2024 corporate campaign donor, according to Forbes. Protecting the tobacco industry by dumping the nicotine standard would certainly provide Democrats with fodder to criticize Trump. Well, I mean, regardless, you know, I mean, these particular things seem to have the can kicked down the road ad nauseum. So I don't know. To me, I don't feel like this is a priority right now. You know what I mean? And if it's going to take years to implement, I mean, he's got, you know, there's time to decide what you want to do with that whole thing. You could just put it on pause and just shelf it for a while and revisit it at another time. I just feel like there's other things that the world needs to worry about before we worry about VLNs.
Right.
Not to say I want people to smoke more. Don't get me wrong.
Who was looking for the episode? I forgot who it was now.
It was Check.
Okay. I'm gonna put it in there right now. So that don't go there now though.
Yeah, you get like double vision. You'd see us twice.
Dun, dun,
Talking
dun,
to different people. But that's the article. So I don't know. What's opinions, thoughts? What's going to happen? Do you think this is just going to be something that kind of hovers around? Do you think there'll be a continued push for it? Do you think it's just going to fall flat? You know, what's going to happen?
Michelle, I'll let you go first, Michelle.
Okay. I believe it'll fall flat. I believe it'll be overturned. I believe, you know, whether it doesn't even have to be by Trump, it can be by the new FDA guy that comes in. I mean, he could come in and say, no, we're not going to do that,
Yep.
you know. So it doesn't have to be from Trump. But I don't think it's going to work. And I think hopefully that, you know, they'll see that the new bunch of people will understand that, you know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the first question they ask whoever is in charge of the FDA is this less harmful? How? That's the question I think needs to be asked right away. How is this less harmful? Is this, you know, are you still getting the same chemicals and the same poisons when you burn this as a regular cigarette? And what is being less here? And I think I'm hoping that like what is his name? God damn it, whatever his name is, whoever's going to be the new FDA director
That's
and whoever
Marty McCary.
Yeah. That's the question he asks. I think that's the most important question. I think that should be the question non-smokers should be asking, because let's be honest, it's them that are going to decide whether or not this is a safer alternative, because they're the ones that are going to be pushing for this. You know, because everyone, let's be honest, everyone has someone in their family that smokes, and
Right.
you may not be a smoker, so your concerns may be how's this benefit that person in my life to help them quit smoking. And for me, this doesn't say I'm going to help you quit smoking. This is saying to me, we're going to keep you smoking, and we're going to keep you smoking more,
Right.
because you're going to try to get that nicotine. That's the only question I hope is asked, and whether it's the people in society, the citizens, or whether it's a politician or a doctor at the FDA or a scientist, you know, how is this going to benefit the smoker from quitting? And does this in any way change the fact that there are all these chemicals once you light it, you know? And to me, I think if that information isn't answered, then I think this needs to go away. It needs to go away, and go away quickly, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I'm just looking at it more from, you know, weighing the balance here. You know, I mean, it's not inevitable that VLN cigarettes will drive people to quit smoking. There's
No.
nothing that guarantees that end result. I mean, it could very well be that people get accustomed to them, or, you know, figure out, you know, they can work with those in some way, shape, or form. But with that said, you know, then you have to look at the other side of the line, and you have to go, well, then what's the benefit here? Because it's not changing the component of a cigarette and the more harmful elements of it. So really is lowering the nicotine an end game to this whole thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I could see it driving down some of the smoking rates. I just think people are going to find somewhere else to find their nicotine.
Yeah.
They'll get it
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. Everyone's different. Every smoker is different. Will this help a percentage of smokers, eventually quit? Maybe. I'm sure. We still have people that are out there that can, cold turkey. God bless them, man. If they can just step away after smoking, for a good amount of time in their lives and just be able to put a pack of cigarettes down, good for you. But for me, I mean, there's no science behind this, the saying that this is going to work. And until I see some science behind it, I'm going to say this is just a bust. Because will it work for, I don't know, 3% of the smoking population? Maybe that 3%, this is going to be great for them, but that doesn't help the whole system, all of us. In some way, shape, or form. I can see, like Tim is saying, and the rest of us, that I can see someone going from a pack a day smoker to 2 packs a day because he's trying to get that nicotine fix that he needs. Everybody's life is different and everybody has a different reason for why they smoke. Some of us smoke because of stress, well, whether it's
Yep.
family or work or, everyday bullshit. And then some of us smoke. Let's be honest. Some of us smoke because fucking we enjoy it. There are people out there that will tell you they don't give a crap. They enjoy that damn cigarette. They
Well,
enjoy
it's
that
their life,
cigarette.
right? It's their
That's it.
life. They
It's
have a
their
right
life.
to choose what they want to do with their life.
Yeah.
What it, it doesn't always have to equal. I mean, they may be highly consciously aware of the
Yeah.
ramifications of smoking or the harms it could cause, and and even then, you could sit here and say, well, smoking doesn't kill everybody. It's not
Right. Yeah.
100%, going to kill everybody, in the end. I mean, my grandmother was 90 years old or something, and she was still smoking up until that. Now, granted, she wasn't like a pack a day or anything, but she smoked, into her 90s. And she didn't die of cancer. She died
Yeah.
from a broken hip.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
the risk is there.
Yeah.
I think each of us as individuals has to decide based on what we know about that particular item or product
Yep.
or thing, what the risks are, engaging with that.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I saw a funny little video the other day that made me laugh, and they were attacking this old lady. She was about 98 years old. And this old lady still drinks 2 cans of Mountain Dew every day since its existence of Mountain Dew. She loves Mountain Dew. And they're like
right.
trying to tell her how bad Mountain Dew is for her. And she just looking at them like, I'm
So
98 years old.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm still drinking 2 cans of Mountain Dew every day. So I don't know if I'm doing something right or you're not doing something right. So, if I were Pepsi, I think Pepsi owns Mountain Dew, I would hire her. I would hire her as the Mountain Dew spokesman and put her on a commercial, and she'll turn out to be, I'm sure, Tim and Michelle, we remember this old lady, but where's the beef? She
Oh yeah.
became one of the most popular people on
She
planet
did.
Earth from that commercial. And this old lady,
Instantly.
we were all going around saying, "Where's the beef?
Where's the beef?
Where's the beef?"
Right.
But
Uh,
I think a saving grace here is right now we're kind of in a unique situation
yeah,
where we're not only getting a new FDA guy, we're getting a new CDC guy, we're getting a new president,
yeah.
we're getting, new
The health
more
minister
control
czar.
over,
Yeah,
yeah, we're getting more control over all kinds of, branches of the government and health control. And so, and there's a new spirit here that I think that hasn't been around in our government in a long time, where
yeah,
everybody is wanting to work together to make this work. I
yeah,
think they finally heard that people have had enough and leave us alone. Government doesn't always save us and
yeah,
things of that nature. So I think we're in a very unique situation here. And if we can get everybody on the same page,
Yeah.
You know, now's the time to do it. So I think maybe we're in a lot better place
Yeah.
than where we have been in the past.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully, and I'm going to say this, I don't want to upset anybody out there, but I'm hopefully the Democratic Party, which is known as being the progressive party, for once actually goes back to being a progressive party and realizes that this is something that's benefiting a lot of people. And they've always been about that, about the people. And they have gotten away from that, which has hurt them in this last election, is not being about the people. And for me, it's just like for them to sit down with Trump and the rest of the Republicans and come to an agreement on this and realize what Tim has said. You know, it's my life. It's our life. I'm going to choose what I want to do with my life. And I don't need you. Like my dad always said, once you open the door to government, you let them in your house, you're done. And that was my philosophy since day one. You know, I went through a situation with my wife. I had insurance. I was working for a very good company, making very good money, and I had very good insurance. But unfortunately, my wife ended up getting lupus and losing her kidneys, and they decided that that was a pre-existing cause. So they dropped her from the insurance and put her on. I had to put her on. I had to pay for insurance out of my own pocket for the first year before I put her back on the policy. And they, from that moment on, they knocked on our doors like, hey, we're Medi-Cal, Medicare. We're going to take care of you. I was like, no, absolutely not. I don't want you in my house because I'm not going to let you decide what I have to purchase and what I can't purchase and what I can't do in my life, or how much money I can have in my account, how much money I can spend a month on my children. No, absolutely not. And that was one thing that I stood my ground, because I remember what my dad told me. So once you open the door to them and let them in your home, they'll never leave. They'll never leave. And that's exactly what has been happening the last 4 years is with the Democratic Party, is just trying to get in the door and trying to be part and trying to fix all our solutions and never giving us an opportunity to make our own decisions. And I can't stand that. And this is a simple thing. For me, doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a teacher. I'm not I don't have a medical degree or nothing, but I know what my body has become since I started vaping. I understand what my body is going through and the withdrawals that I went through, all that stuff. I know where I'm at. I know my skin is better. I know I'm hiking. I know I'm going out and doing things that I normally wouldn't have done being a smoker. And if you want test dummies, hey, I'm sure anyone in our community will step forward and say, you want to do testing? Test me. I have been vaping for 10 years. You want to look at my lungs? You want to look how much healthier I am? Here's a picture of me 10 years ago, smoking cigarettes at 265 pounds, overweight, not feeling good. And here's Johnny now, and you want to test these. That's the simple thing. That's all I want from our government. It's just, give us an opportunity, like our parents, give us an opportunity to make a fucking mistake. That's it. That's all I want. If I make a mistake, I own up to it. You know what I mean? So for me, just give us that opportunity. If you want to smoke, God bless you, man. Smoke all you want to smoke. I could care less. Do I want you smoking in the car with your kids? Probably not. Do I want you smoking in your house? Probably not. But if you want to smoke, smoke. I don't care. But if you want to vape and you want an opportunity to stop smoking, this is your safer and better opportunity. And what they have done now is made it almost impossible for any one of us to get e-liquid, and get her coils, get her stuff that we need to move on. I this week, before the new year, I'm going to, everyone may laugh, but it's the first time I've had to purchase e-liquid in my entire life of being a vapor. I bought other e-liquid before here and there, but honestly, I'm going to be honest with all you guys. I have not had to buy e-liquid in a very, very, very long time. I've always had companies send me stuff, being through Zamplebox, so I've always had e-liquid. This is the first time I had to buy e-liquid, and it was the first time that I had to realize that I had to go through all these hoops to get e-liquid to my house. And then I didn't realize, not paying attention, and this is my fault, but January 1st being the cutoff date for California to be able to order e-liquid through an online. So I'm rushing. I'm just trying to buy as much as I can. And these guys made fun of me because everything I bought is mango. That's my shit. So that's how I'm buying. I bought every mango you could imagine. Sad boy. I bought friggin' juice head. I got them all. I bought all the mango. But what pissed me off the most about that whole process is trying to rush this order in, make sure I get it before January 1st, before the cutoff and all this other shit, was the taxes that I had to pay to get this e-liquid to my house. Right. And the fact that each one of those meant I had to pay a signature fee. Okay. And that's fine. All right. I get that. All right. But God forbid, God damn it, man. If you're going to make me sign something, I want to sign it, damn it. That doesn't mean just throw it in my mailbox, because that's what they did. All of them. And I'm not going to tell you what companies I ordered from, but every single one of those packages that I received, guys, did not require a signature. The mailman did not knock on my door, did not ask for my driver's license, did not ask to prove that who I was. They didn't take it back to the post office to make sure I had to come over there and get it. No, they put it on the mailbox. And if it didn't fit in the mailbox, they put it on my front door. So to me, that absolutely pisses me off, because, okay, I paid for something that is required. You're requiring me to sign this piece of paper when it gets to my house, but yet I didn't sign nothing. You just dropped it off. So what did I just pay $7 for?
Yeah.
You know, what did I just pay for? You know, that's the part of it that pissed me off. So, and now I find out that the law has been upheld. So it's still going through a process. You can still order in California, but guess what? All the websites are just locked out. They are locked out of California. They're not even going to attempt to open it back up because they know what's going to eventually happen. It's going to be banned. So instead of putting California back on the system, knowing that that's what the board members here in California decided, that this it's going to take a while for this to actually go through, and scared the shit out of everybody on January, you know, to make sure they got their orders in before the first of the year, which I did. Now I'm hearing the opposite, and yet now none of these websites are opening their doors to California. So Johnny is in that situation, but it's everywhere here, to be honest. I mean, I can walk into any store and buy a disposable, but I was trying to get away from that disposable because I felt like all the hard work, and I don't know if Tim, if you felt this way with the disposable. I know Michelle doesn't use one. She occasionally, yeah. So for me, I felt like I got to this point where I felt like everything that I had achieved in the beginning, going from 18 down to 3, I was losing all that because I was putting 50 back in my body or 25 back in my body. And I noticed when I switched back over to the 3 milligrams, I was vaping like crazy, man, because I was trying to make up that 50 that I was putting in my body before. So yeah, it was a rough week. I think I went through that whole 120 ml bottle in like 2 days, 2 or 3 days. Oh. Yeah, because I was just Michelle. I needed that 50.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and then when you're at home, it's different than when you're like at work. And I noticed the fact that I was going to work, you would think I would vape less, but what ended up happening is knowing that I had that allowed amount of time to vape before I went through the door. So it's just like, yeah, not good.
Well, on a side note, the FDA just banned red dye number 3.
Yes, they did. Lucky Charms is dead. Lucky Charms is dead.
That was really good. That's one that I'm allergic to. So
yeah, I wouldn't know the difference.
You would know the difference if you tasted the 2 different.
At 3 years old, I had whelps on me that was bigger than silver dollars, and I remember I had stockings on. It was Easter time. I had red shoes, and it was bad. I mean, it was bad. Yeah. So I'm glad personally.
I'm glad that they're starting to look at certain things that are in our food. I'm glad that that's happening. It's just, you know, to me, what makes me laugh is the shock and awe that's going through, like these people that are like, I just saw a post today, fuck Lucky Charms, I'm going back to Cheerios. I was just like, you're a grown man anyway, dude. You shouldn't be eating fucking Lucky Charms, dude. But again,
some people vape
choice.
them. Some people love the taste of Lucky Charms or Fruit Loops or whatever, so.
They'll find something. They said they did not ban red dye number 40. So they'll
stay away from 40.
Some of your stuff might look a little different.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. I there's a YouTube channel that I like watching, and what they do is they give the different foods to people in England, and they're students, they're kids from England, and they bring the foods that we have here in America. So it's like the first time they've tried a brisket or all this other stuff. So what they did to these poor kids is they have Lucky Charms there in England, but it's completely tastes different than the Lucky Charms that they have, So they gave the kids the Lucky Charms that they can get here in America, and the kids are like, "This is so much better. There's so much more flavor in this cereal." It made me crack up because it was just like, these kids realize Lucky Charms tastes better in America than it does in England.
We have a lot more sugar in everything from, from
it's
jams
crazy.
to ketchup and mustard and, all the things that you wouldn't think have sugar in them here.
Yeah, I didn't realize, I don't know why I was just being naive maybe, or just I didn't realize that, the companies were actually making things different in here, like even just people, even the Coca-Cola that you get in Mexico is completely different than the Coca-Cola you get here in California. The same thing goes for the cereals that you get here. That you get the same cereals in Canada, and let's be honest, Canada's just a hop, a skip over to us, but yet that's a whole different Lucky Charms and rest of the cereals that you get here in the United States. It's just baffled me. I feel bad for the factories.
Well, I thought we got a few more minutes. I don't want to do this whole article, but just to kind of offset kind of like some of the stuff that we were just kind of going through with the VLNs. I thought I would share this one a little bit. It's from my pod. But it's a more recent study that's come
I'm
out.
sorry. There's a Rams thing up there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We get it. You're biased and super fan and trying to rub it in our faces. No, because it was on the vaping background there before.
Yeah.
A groundbreaking study has revealed that switching from smoking to e-cigarettes reduces exposure to carcinogens to the same extent as quitting nicotine entirely. The findings, which have been largely ignored in public discourse, emphasize the potential of e-cigarettes as a harm reduction tool for smokers looking to improve their health while transitioning away from combustible cigarettes. Here's the key findings. So I just thought this was interesting. The research recently highlighted in tobacco analysis focused on measuring the levels of carcinogenic biomarkers in individuals who either continued smoking, switched to e-cigarettes, or quit nicotine altogether. The results were striking. Smokers who transitioned to exclusive e-cigarette use showed a significant reduction in carcinogenic exposure. Yay, us. These reductions were comparable to those observed in individuals who completely abstained from nicotine. Look at that. The reductions were comparable to those observed in individuals who completely abstained from nicotine. The study underscores that the primary source of carcinogenic exposure comes from the combustion of tobacco, not nicotine itself. The research challenges prevailing narratives and highlights e-cigarettes as a less harmful alternative to traditional cigarettes, offering a viable option for smokers who are unable and unwilling to quit nicotine entirely. So there are continued studies and other things coming out. I really hope there's a turning of the tide, that the right sets of eyes become privy to these studies, and they actually, are more exposed to the truth. I mean, the FDA has said as much in the past that they're well aware of the fact that vaping is far safer than smoking, but they're decided to take their antagonistic route.
Yeah, that's why I would love, I know it'll never happen. And maybe we can find a retired FDA employee to come on this show. I know not one that is currently employed would probably come on this show, but an ex-employee and just figure out what data or research is acceptable to the FDA, because I think that's the problem we run into. I think they look at our information, our stats, our review boards, all that stuff as not being qualified to be read or even studied by the FDA. And I would love to know what it takes for the FBI, not the FBI, but the FDA to actually say, okay, this is legit. You know what I mean? I would love to know that. Is there a standard that a company has to meet for their information, their data, their stats to be liable for the FDA to take notice? That's all I would like to know. I mean, I don't know if that's something that is actually a process that the FDA does or not. I have no idea, but it seems like it, right, Tim? Doesn't it seem like our information, our data, our research is zero to them when it comes to making a decision on this, on vaping? And so I would like to know what that standard is. What does does he have to be a Harvard graduate? Does, whatever. I want to know what that is that makes them qualified for their research to be important enough for them to read or accept. That's all I ask.
Well, I mean, if the studies are peer reviewed and published in legitimate medical publications, I certainly see no reason why they wouldn't want to at least take a look at them. I think I think the reason why that is, John, why they're primarily ignored, is simply because they've got the FDA on their side, and I just think it's selective hearing. They have an agenda, and if they were to entertain contradictory information, it kind of ruins their narrative.
Yep.
Right.
Well, I mean, even the what do you call it, out of the UK, they don't look at that study whatsoever. They think it's just nonsense. It's not valuable to them, and it's just like, well, wait a minute, aren't they basically the FDA there? That they're basically the FDA there. That's their job. Is their sole job is to check products that come into to their country that are okay for their citizens. So
Right.
for me, for them to say that's not a viable study that's being done there, and I can't remember, you know the name of it. Come on, Timmy.
Royal College of Physicians.
Thank you. And for them to just say that's nonsense, it just makes me laugh. And that's why I'm saying to myself is like, what qualifies? Does an article need to be published in some big publication that is read by thousands of doctors, or are we just going to go by what you say is okay?
Go ahead, Michelle.
When you think about it, there was how many people were actually studied for the VLN? I think it is really is a selective thing. It depends on, hey, are you are you something that they want, or are you not something that they want?
Right.
On what they look at, period.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I really think it's what Tim's saying. I think it doesn't fit their agenda. It doesn't, it doesn't fit their narrative. So they just that science is bogus, and it's nonsense.
Right. Well,
it's
I mean,
science.
They look foolish backtracking now after everything they've done.
Exactly.
With the with the youth epidemic and the levels of addiction, and then skewing the gray line between what people are vaping, where they automatically take the Valley phenomena and still apply it towards nicotine vaping, as though no one's really paying attention. But with that said, the general public who saw all the news reports and the people dying and on ventilators and all that stuff, they just hear one word. They hear vaping, and they just that creates their 2 + 2.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, Michael. And that's the thing. I mean, it's to them, I mean, the science is out there. I don't know what we have to do, you know? I mean, it's almost at the point where every single vapor needs to go get a chest X-ray and just send it to the FDA. This is before, this is after.
They
Do the
won't look
math.
at it though. They won't look at it, you know.
They won't.
I mean,
They'll just go, "Oh,
no.
this is nonsense." There was
They'll say we're
obviously,
anecdotal, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. They would say, obviously, there's something wrong with the X-ray machine there at that
Right.
hospital.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Yep.
it's just that it's gotten to that point. I will say I think what I have noticed in the last year is I've seen a lot of medical people starting to accept vaping, and I like that. I like
Right.
seeing that you have more nurses and doctors saying, "Hey man, it's working for me. I can't see why it won't work for you," you know.
Right.
And another thing, like I've seen more and more here, is I'm seeing more doctors and I'm seeing more nurses. Here in California, you have to walk all the way to the sidewalk to if you're on hospital campus. So you can't smoke or vape on campus. So you have to go to the sidewalks, which makes it very obvious when you drive down that street what's going on, why those people are standing there. And what I've noticed is the people are vaping. They're not. They're still in there. What do they call that? I forget. They got a name for
They're
their
scrubs.
the scrubs. That's it. Yeah, the scrubs. And I find it hilarious because they're still standing out there with their scrubs on. Some of them still have like the little beanie thing that they just like they just got out of surgery. It's like they just got out of surgery and they're like, "Fuck it, I got a vape. That was difficult." You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
I could have really fucked that guy's life up, but I need a vape right now.
That's funny.
I mean, that's what it's like. I mean, let's be honest.
Well,
Can you imagine, you know, the stress level that we have just in our day-to-day jobs, you know, just normal jobs that we have, just times that by 1,000. Some guy that just did open heart surgery, who's craving fucking nicotine in a cigarette. And, you know, that fucker's running out there. I just cut the guy's chest open. What'd you do today?
That's funny.
Oh my goodness. Well, I hope that 2025 is good to us. I think it is. I think it's going to be good to us. Do I think that we're going to get everything we want?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I
No.
think there will be some limitations. And I think one of the limitations I think is going to be on nicotine strength. I think that's the one that I think we're going to have a hard time fighting. And I think we may not see 50. I think, you know, I was thinking the other day, what would be, and you and I think Michelle as well are a little biased to this because we did start at a lower nicotine level to quit. I think most of us, I think 12 or 18, right, Tim? Michelle, 12, 18?
I was above that.
You were above that?
I think it was 27, and then I dropped to 18 real
Oh,
quick.
okay.
I mean,
Okay. I started with 8. I think it was 18. And again, I could only get what I could get here in Modesto. At that time, I didn't realize I could order stuff online. So I was getting what I could get off of the cart at the mall. So what was available at the cart at the mall was, you know, 18, and it was cottonwood, and, you know, it was like 18 milligrams, and it was like $24 for that little 15 mil bottle. I still remember that. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that's where I think they're going to fight us the most with is because it's about nicotine, right, Michelle and Tim? It's about the addiction to nicotine and trying to limit that addiction. So I think that's one of the things that we're going to have a fight with. And I think at this point in time, and I think if we get some of the things that we want, I think we shouldn't be arguing about whether we get 25 or 50. And I think if 25 is that number that is going to get us through and available, I know I'm going to piss off a lot of people out there, but I think that's a ground where I think we should just all agree on and say, okay, 25 is going to be it, but we're going to get all this other stuff. I agree. I mean, would you be happy with 25 being the maximum strength available to the general?
I mean, I think when you look at the greater landscape of it all, I think 25 could work for a lot of people as much as people think that 50 needs to be in abundance just for those heavy smokers that need a transition. I've always said, and this is why I always ask that eternal hypothetical. It's not to say that I don't think all forms of vaping have a benefit somewhere if it fits the person's needs. But I'm just saying, if we had to give up something to save the rest of it, I've always said that low, 20, come just get off of 50, 36 at the highest. But I think if 25 was the metric that we had to go with, I think that you might still see quite a few success stories with vaping as a transition.
Yeah. You feel the same way, Michelle?
Yeah, I said 27 earlier. I think it was actually 24 for me.
Yeah, I think you're about right.
You know, I think there's going to be a lot of people that would need more, but I also think that if they would properly tell people that, if you vape, you're gonna end up vaping more. So if they would express that a lot, I think, it's going to be a little bit more expensive for people who might typically vape a 50. If they dropped it down to, let's say, 24 or 36 or whatever, they may have to vape more, but that's okay. But they need to express that and tell the people that
that's exactly it. It's okay for you to, that's what makes me so angry, is just what you said, is because it's okay to smoke more, but it's not okay to vape more. And it's just doesn't make any sense to me. Hey, before we go, there's some people on Instagram, and I have not been paying attention to them. I have been, actually. I'm gonna take that back. I'm seeing you, but I haven't. Unfortunately, StreamYard doesn't allow to see your comments on here. For some reason, Instagram blocks the comments from showing up on the show. I want to thank everybody out there on Instagram, and Tim and Michelle. We all appreciate you guys. I know we've talked about it before. Once you're on one platform, you're happy with that platform, and I get that. There are YouTube people, there are Facebook people, there are Instagram people. So I want to make sure you guys know that we see you, and we appreciate you following the show on Instagram. I wish there was a way that I could show your comments on the show. Hopefully they work that out someday on Instagram, and they allow us to show your guys' comments on the show. Otherwise, I'd have to do it this way to see you guys. So we appreciate you, and we know you're there, man. So great show, guys. We are out of here. 2025 begins. Our first episode. I forgot to list this as season. I forget what season we're on. I have to look at that up, but I know it was like way up there now. But episode 1 of 2025, Tim. Episode 1 of 2025.
Yeah. We did it. We got another 11 and a half months to go.
I would try. When you said that, my mind went to a movie where the guy says that in a jokingly way. We did it, man. We did it.
We're like season 5, episode 1. We're like The Walking Dead. Keeps on going. Next week we're bringing in tigers and I don't know what else.
I don't know. Bears.
Bears and tigers. That's right. The whole show is bears and tigers.
We haven't talked about bears in a while on this show. All right, everybody. Everybody have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, guys.
See everybody back next Wednesday. Thank you again, everybody on Instagram. We'll see everybody next Wednesday. Everybody look into the camera and say goodbye. Bye.
Good night.
I pushed the wrong button.
Oh.